You ready? All right, so I just got done with a buyer appointment. I was meeting with this beautiful family, and they weren't quite ready yet to buy a house. So, we wrote them a plan. I walked them through the whole process and so on, and hopefully very soon, later on this year, they are gonna be able to purchase a house. But what I did notice was that they were a little bit down, knowing that they were needing to make some sacrifices in order to make this happen. And it really reminded me when I went through the exact same journey when I had a really low credit score and I had to pay off some debt. And so what ends up happening is this: I was encouraging them that it's very important that they prioritize creating an atmosphere that allows them to believe that they can do it. Atmospheres are very important. Follow me real quick. Atmospheres are very important. And so what ends up happening is that we are oftentimes a product of our atmospheres. Atmospheres are created by the words we speak according to the voices we are responding to. 1 Corinthians 14 says that there are many voices in the earth and none of them without significance. In other words, there are constant voices speaking to us, and all of them are significant, or we give them significance according to our response to them. Let me give you an example. Let's say I am behind the wheel, okay? And all of a sudden, someone just comes right in front of me and cuts me off. And all of a sudden, there are a lot of voices that I am hearing, and according to whichever voice I respond to is the atmosphere I'm going to create in my car. So if I respond to a voice of anger, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna speed up. I am going to give them a bird. I'm gonna say French words. I'm gonna do all of these things out of anger because I'm responding to a voice of anger. Therefore, the atmosphere in my vehicle all of a sudden is tense. Or I can respond to a voice of peace and patience where I just let it slide by and I keep the atmosphere in my vehicle at peace. You see, we create the atmospheres around us according to the words that we speak. Now, we speak the words according to the voices we are responding to. So check this out. My pastor one time preached a message where they talked about us being a product of our atmospheres or being atmospheres changers. The example was used of a thermometer versus a thermostat. So a thermometer is a device that simply responds to the temperature in the room or the atmosphere. Therefore, if I was holding a thermometer right now, the red mercury inside of it would be adjusting because all a thermometer does is it responds to the atmosphere. And then there's a thermostat. So in a house, the thermostat controls the temperature or the atmosphere in the house. So if it's cold, all you do is put the heater on. So the thermometer will control the temperature. In this life, we can either be a thermometer or a thermostat. We can be people that simply respond to the atmospheres all around us. We can be people to respond to bad news with a negative sense. We can be people that are constantly negative, that think nothing is gonna be in our favor, or we can be thermostats that regardless of our situation, regardless of what I'm going through, regardless of what I am living through right now, I am going to create an atmosphere that yesterday doesn't have to look like tomorrow. That today I am gonna make decisions that are gonna give me the future I want. That my past is not going to dictate my future. And the more I respond to those words of faith, to those words of encouragement, to those words of hope, the moment I begin to speak those words, I began to create an environment all around me where no matter what, hope lives inside of me. And guess what happens? We become a product of what we reside in. Atmospheres are so important. There are trees that can only grow in certain atmospheres. There are plants that can only flourish in certain atmosphere. I want to challenge you, if you're watching this video, what atmospheres are you putting yourself into? Are you simply a thermometer or are you a thermostat? Listen, I understand life comes and punches us in the face continually. But we can either respond to it or we can say, you know what? Regardless of what just happened, I am gonna set the temperature in my life in this moment, and I am going to hold on to the promises, to the faith, to the hope that I have that tomorrow is going to be different than today. Think about that. What atmospheres are you creating in your life? I want to encourage you, begin to create atmospheres, environments, begin to speak the promises of God over your life. Begin to live a life of faith, of hope, that no matter what happens, tomorrow is gonna be different.